Are you a teacher and want to get a message across? Maybe you should try Fear Factor teaching. Yes, it's that time of the week again. Welcome to Vlog My Blog. Yes. Now this episode's going to be a bit longer this week because it's a reasonably thrilling story. So if you can tolerate my acne-filled face, we'll begin with this week's blog. This week's post is called Cars, the unanimated real-life horror film. Hey folks, I'm just going to casually talk about how I nearly died yesterday. Well, technically every time we travel in a vehicle we nearly die. And the chances of dying or having the very being that you are unplugged by an injury are incredibly high. But it's really not that surprising when you remember that it's a large, heavy chunk of metal on wheels travelling at insanely fast speeds. Naturally, we don't travel anywhere near as fast as these cages on wheels go, but we're quite content with strapping ourselves and taking them out for a spin. But that's not really relevant at the moment. Back on topic. Nearly dying. Got it. Actually, I think I'll take my time. I might get to the point at the end of the video. For if people went to the point straight away, there wouldn't be any storyline, and none of the movies would exist, because they'd get to the point in the first 30 seconds of the movie. I'm sorry, but if you follow Vlog My Blog, you'll understand what I'm going on about here. Yesterday, I and many other students went to the Rider program. The program that aims to teach younglings how to responsibly drive a car. Unfortunately, 90% of younglings these days don't really have any care towards the matter that is life. In fact, Yoda would deny them any training at all. Why am I bringing Yoda into this post? To start off the program was the bus ride, which didn't really set a good example. The bus had no seat belts, no leg room, and an arrangement of metal bars that looked like they'd been placed there by a scheming lunatic who designed the bus in a way that in the event of a car crash, all the occupants would be playing a fatal game of Twister with their guts. Once we'd arrived, we went through station by station. First off, we had a recap of the basics. Don't drink while driving, don't drive while sleepy, don't sleep while drivey, and don't drink and sleep while simultaneously driving. They may need to run through that with me again. Didn't quite sound right. After that, we had a policewoman talk to us about the number of deaths in Australia and the amount of us that probably wouldn't be there in the next few years. She also explained how P-platers are far more dangerous than any other drivers, and that hooning around and showing off in a car resorts to an accident. A no-brainer, really. I mean, if you were in olden times and you had a noose around your neck, you wouldn't be hooning around. The car is essentially the same risk. You muck around with something dangerous, you're gonna get hurt. It's like the basic rule they teach you in kindergarten. Don't run with scissors, don't play with fire, don't throw scissors and then try and catch them in each other's eyes. The facts the policewoman talked about are worrying, and you should really pay attention to them. There's no puns or jokes in that line. At last, the day came to an end. We'd been told about car safety features. We'd gotten into a car with an instructor to see what braking in an emergency situation would feel like. We'd purchased sausages from the sausage sizzle. But finally, it was over, and I was clearly decisive of my future. I'm gonna isolate but that will be for another day. You shall hear about my decisive plan for the future later. Probably next episode. We all climbed aboard the bus that was so old that it didn't actually meet any of the safety regulations of today and began driving back to school. Suddenly, while driving along a busy 4-lane highway as if some sick-minded person from Rider had one final warning for us, the bus began to jolt. There was a loud ripping sound which turned into a rapid chopping, a violent groan, and we were completely flipping out. There were no heroic figures like Bruce Willis jumping up and saying, "Don't panic! Do exactly as I say and you will be alive." However, one of our supervising teachers did say shortly after, "Don't worry guys, we just ran over some rope. It's the body that was attached to the rope you should be worried about." He was joking, folks, just in case I've got a few weird ones watching. Turned out that we'd run over something and the tyre had burst. Though at the time, not wearing seatbelts, cars racing all around us, thoughts about all the back-ending and crashing stuff that the day had warned us about, left us reasonably frightened. And in the end, the bus pulled over and we all walked up to the school. But it was movie-like, wasn't it? It was cool. It was tough and... No? Damn, well, there goes your cliffhanger for the end of the episode. Sucks for you. The point? Well, the point is that the day that informed us about crashes and dying and all that stuff had one of its own at the end of the day just to top it all off. Though if the bus we were in had been taken off the road years ago when it should have, who knows? We might have still been alive today. So there we have it, a terrifying tale worthy of a big, epic movie. Smoothie? Movie. Hop to it, directors. Ben. So, there we go. So tune in next week, I'll have another episode next Wednesday. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Now this episode's gonna be but that's not really relevant at them. But that's not really relevant. There. Yesterday, I and legroom. The bus had no seatbelts, no legroom, and it looked like they'd been placed there by some designing lunatic, by some scheming lunatic who designed the bus in a way to ensure that in the event of a crash, all occupants would end up playing a rather fatal game of Twister. A scheming lunatic who designed the bars that look like they've been placed there by scheming L-platers are actually safer. I mean, if you were in olden times, we might have still been alive today.